Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Busi, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notifications bell. Today I am talking about the process after you've received your permanent residence confirmation, if you're immigrating to a different country, and specifically to the country that I immigrated to, Canada. I'm going to be sharing on my experience and the things that I think you can do to help yourself have a much smoother transition to moving from the country that you're in to the next. Now, you've just received confirmation of permanent residence and you submit your passports and you get the little visas in your passport that will allow you to enter the country so you can go through the process of getting your permanent residence card wherever it is that you're immigrating to. The first thing that you should do is make sure that after you receive that visa, and this is true with any other visa that you would get, but don't overlook checking for spelling. Even on your confirmation documents, you need to make sure that your names have been spelled correctly and everything is as it should be, or else you're gonna have trouble come time for you to go and actually move, and that's going to just delay your process unnecessarily. So when you receive your documents, make sure that you're checking that every single thing has been spelled correctly. Like, don't just get stuck in that excitement stage. When you are preparing for your move, one of the things, or the biggest things that I found, was deciding what we are doing with our physical goods, so the assets that we had. It can be your furniture, it can be cars, it can be houses. You need to decide, probably even well in advance to the time when you are receiving your permanent residence information, that you are going to do X with a house or houses that you have, and you're going to do Y with car or cars that you have. And with your furniture, are you selling your furniture? Are you giving it away? For us, the easiest thing to do was to give things away that we weren't going to be using anymore. But you can definitely sell things and you can give things away. Like, it's really up to you, and you need to decide what makes the most sense for you. Now, a lot of questions that I've gotten around furniture is, does it make sense to move with your furniture, so ship furniture abroad? And on that one, I personally would say, if you have an antique or some piece that you really want to keep in the family, or something that's been in your family for a while and you want to keep that, then that is definitely worth shipping. But things like a bed, teaspoons, cups, mugs, like things of that nature, curtains, I don't think it's worth the shipping costs. It's better to just try and sell those things or give those things away if you can, and it makes sense for you, and just buy new furniture when you get to the new country. Now, what I will link is a shop that's called IKEA. So it's a big shop here that you can go on their website and check what on average it would cost for you to furnish a house. So you don't have to be buying everything from IKEA, but I think it's a space that can give you an idea of what to expect, from buying beds to buying your TV stands to buying lamps, curtains, whatever. You know, there's plenty of other shops that you'll discover and you'll find that you can actually shop at, but I think IKEA can give you a bit of a baseline for things that are not super expensive, things that you will likely have to assemble yourself, or you can pay somebody else to assemble, but it can give you an idea for you to get that rough estimate that if I do need to furnish a house, how much would that cost me? And you literally can start out with just basics. You know, you need a bed, you need a couch, you need a TV stand, all of that stuff, and those are the things that you start off with. And it's important, I think, to also make a list. That's one thing I never did, of the things that you had or have right now in your house. So in the kitchen, what do you use when you're baking, you're cooking, if you are somebody who bakes and cooks? Those little things, it seems like very little things, but I found myself so many times thinking that I already have something because I had it in South Africa, not realizing that it's not something that I actually purchased again when we arrived in Canada. So I'll look for something and I'm like, but I have this, like I know I have it, but I can't find it. And my husband will be like, I think you had it in South Africa. We haven't bought that here yet. So making a list of all the things that you're either selling or giving away that you do still want to have, that will go a long way in helping you recover things that you actually do use. And it will stop you from having those moments of, did I have this in the previous country that I stayed in, or did I buy it here and I just misplaced it and I don't know where it is? Because I still have a lot. Like, I'm going on 2 years living in Canada, and I still have times where I'm like, I think I bought this, but then I can't find it in the house. And there's that debate on, is it something that I had in South Africa and just never got around to buying here, and I'm only realizing like almost 2 years in that I don't have it because I haven't really had a need for it. It wasn't something I used frequently, but it's something that I do use every now and then. So definitely make a list of all the things that you do have, all the things that you would want to have, so you can easily keep track of what you have bought and what you haven't bought from a furnishing your house perspective. So now you've sorted out what you're doing with your things, when things are going to be going, and you know when you want to be moving. You book your flights and your accommodation. Now, I would definitely recommend booking accommodation via Airbnb, and it makes the most sense. It's something that we did, and I do recommend that you book accommodation for at least a month. Now, one of the things that you get with booking a month on Airbnb are discounts. There's discounts that they have if you are booking a month or longer stay, and that works out pretty great. So find a place where you can stay for a month in an Airbnb. If you don't have, other people that you know who are willing to and can assist, are in a space and position that they can assist you with a place to stay for a few weeks, book a place, look through Airbnb. And with Airbnb, if you do book for a month, you get a discount, a certain percentage. It depends on each place and it's different, but you do get a discount if you book a month and more than a month. So a month is enough for you to look around, find a more permanent place for you to rent. And when you are looking for that place to rent, the few things that I think are things that you should be prepared for are that it might be difficult, especially here in Canada. I'm in Ontario, and it is a need that you show Canadian credit history. So have a credit record in Canada. But now, if you weren't in the country and you haven't been living here, you're not going to have a Canadian credit history. So you should get the credit record from your own country. As much as they want a Canadian one, you can explain your situation. You're new to the country, you don't have a Canadian record, credit record, but you do have one from wherever it is that you're coming from. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing that they always want to see are references. So where have you stayed previously in Canada? And they want to talk to that person and find out what kind of a tenant you were if you were renting a place. But then if you're new to the country, again, you're not going to have that. So it would be beneficial if there is a way to find somebody who will understand that you are new and you don't have a Canadian credit record. And when they are talking to homeowners, they're able to articulate your situation clearly and also state that you don't have any Canadian references. You're new to the country, you don't know anyone. If you don't know anyone, some other people might be in a different position where they might know someone, but just be prepared that that is something that helps in you finding a place. But now for us, we didn't have anyone that we knew that we could put forward as a reference, and we didn't have the Canadian credit record or credit history, and we used the South African one, so that was still acceptable. But now finding an agent that understood our situation and was able to clearly articulate it to a point where homeowners feel comfortable enough renting out their space to these people that are just coming from elsewhere into the country, that did not work out that great for us, because we found ourselves in a position where the agent at some point came back to us saying the homeowner wants us to pay 5,000 Canadian dollars in deposit for us to secure the place. And mind you, at this point, we were willing to pay for the full year's rent in advance. So if we were finding a place, we're signing the contracts, we were going to pay everything that would have been due throughout that entire contract. But they still wanted us to pay 5,000 upfront just as a secure deposit, and we'd get it back if everything went well at the end of the term. So that is not really, that legal here. Our contract would be about us renting your space for 12 months, and we'd pay you X amount every month, and we're literally giving you that amount upfront for the full 12 months. So what more do you want from us? So we had to stop with that and say, okay, we're not taking out 5,000. We said we don't have 5,000 to give you as a deposit because we'd already be paying you in full. And what we had to do with that was we had to find our own place. We had to go at it by ourselves, speak to the agents that represent the homeowners on our own, and that's how we were able to find a place much quicker. It just wasn't working out with an agent because they kept coming back with the same thing, saying, oh, but you don't have Canadian history and the owners are fussy about that. And oh, you don't have references in Canada and they're fussy about that. Even though you are willing to pay for the full year in advance, just the conversation wasn't going that great. So if you are coming with a job already, I think that's a totally different story because you have a job and they're able to see that you have a job that's going to be paying you a certain amount and you will be able to afford the place every month. If you don't have a job coming in, I would say be prepared that you might have to offer paying the full 12 months of rent in advance, because look at it from the perspective of the homeowner. They don't know how long it's going to take you to get a job, and it might be something that takes you less than a month, the same way it was for us, but they don't know that, and they need to make sure that they're going to get their money back. So be prepared that might be something that you need to do. But if you do come and you have a job already, then it's a totally different story for you. You can go down that channel and not offer to pay the full 12 months in advance because you have that proof that you have a job that's going to be giving you money every month. And then if you do have kids, just in your planning, do be mindful of the fact that you will not be able to register your child in a school until you have a permanent place to stay. So if you're renting an Airbnb, for that month that you're in the Airbnb, you won't be able to register your child in school until you get a permanent address. So be mindful of the fact that you will not be able to register your child in a school until you have a permanent place to stay. So they don't accept Airbnb locations or addresses as proof that this is where we stay and we want to take our child to this school, because they base where your child goes to school on where you guys stay. And you might rent an Airbnb in one area but end up staying in a totally different area, which is exactly what happened with us. We got in here and we stayed in Richmond Hill, but in the Airbnb stage, we were in Richmond Hill and then we moved to Oakville, which is so far. It's so far from each other. It wouldn't have made sense for us to register our child at a school there for a couple of weeks and then have to now move them again. So when you're planning that move, just be mindful of that and work around that. Now, another question that parents have asked is, how does the school system work if you're coming from South Africa and the school year starts in January and ends in December, whereas here it starts in September. So school starts in September and ends in June. So whenever you come in, your child is going to have to go through certain assessments. Now, it's different for every grade what they have to do with the child, but they do assessments for whatever grade they meant to be in, and then from there they recommend that, okay, they can go into this grade and these are the measures that will be put in place to support them if they do need to catch up on a couple of months. Maybe they've missed a couple of months of school, depending on how the schooling system is set up where you're coming from. So just keep in mind that there's different start and end dates to school starting, but they're very accommodating and they work with you to try and find what will work the best for your child. So it's nothing to stress about. There's nothing to really stress about, and your child will get the support that they need so that they can be integrated into the schooling system and everything works. that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please do hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I went down with that, like, give it a thumbs up. Ah! What am I doing?
Thank you for watching.
Bye everyone.